excited to be here, y'all. I actually am going to screen share and we're going to dive on in. And as Bailey said, just go ahead throughout. If you have questions, please feel free to drop it in the chat. I like to make these as interactive as possible because it is a lot of information to take in. So I want to share with you today about how to get first dibs on every real estate transaction in your local market. And so, a little bit more about me first before we dive on into that. I'm the CEO and the founder of Visible Agent. I've helped, or my team has helped hundreds of agents all in North America to become #1 top producing realtors in their local markets. We're preferred partners to some of the nation's biggest real estate brokerages and even coaching companies as well. And the fun fact, I used to be a real estate agent too. So I have walked your shoes. I've been in your path. I know what it's like to juggle all the things from marketing to cold calling to nurturing to getting to the closing table. So I very much speak your language. So let's do some either, hit ones or twos or whatever, or yeses or nos in the comments here. But one of the things I always love to address is that the market is not quiet. And I know we always often hear like there's sometimes that the market's fast, the market's slow, or, we just have not enough inventory. But here's the thing, there's always searches happening online every single day. So it's never about the market being quiet. It's more often than not that you as agents are just invisible online. So how many of you feel like I just want more listings? I'm going into Q4. If you want more listings, hit yes or write yes in the chat box there. All right, if you're like, hey, I just want more listings. I want to end the year on a positive and high note. Like I said, Q4 is officially here today, right? Awesome. All right. And what if, whoops, I hit backwards by accident. Sorry, guys. Hang tight. Got a little click happy there. Perhaps you feel like I just need more inbound calls. Maybe you're making your outbound calls and you're doing your thing, but perhaps you're like, hey, I'm ready for more inbound calls. If that's you, just type in a yes as well. Right? Or perhaps you're feeling, I wish people could just find me on Google and AI searches, right? Maybe you keep hearing like people are finding their agents utilizing not just Google, but even ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, Gemini, etc. If that's you as well, hit yes. And throughout this, if you have questions, like I said, about Google or AI, I'm an open book, y'all. I am here to help you. Here's the thing. I know every agent, we all want visibility, but few very actually achieve it. And I know at times, because I talk to a lot of agents every single day, where people often feel like my market is saturated. It's so competitive online. It is, but it's also a matter about putting that right game plan into place to help you get seen, get found, to essentially get more leads. Google is today's digital curb appeal. Okay, when someone searches best realtor in your city, the first few names are all that really matter, right? So if you search right now for like not for yourself, don't look up your name, right? Your name, yes, you're going to come up. But if you did best realtor in Dallas, Texas, for instance, are you in that top 3 running even coming in? Right. It's honestly how listings are won, not with a postcard, but a page 1 placement. Now, I'm not knocking postcards, y'all. I know postcards work as long as just like anything else, it is consistent, right? So it's important that we're consistent with postcards. But here's the thing, and I'm going to go into a little bit later about the rationale and the reason behind this, but there are people every single day searching. And I know a lot of times we utilize our referrals, our SOI, and past clients, but we also want consistency, right? If you're not coming up in those top 3 on page 1, there's someone else there is. Unfortunately, Google and AI, they're not having a let's hold this placement till you catch up moment, right? So it's really simple to make sure that you are coming up on the top of all the searches for Google and AI. Okay. I hear this often, right? Why am I not ranking higher on Google? This is one of our clients, Edie Israel. She's out in Yorba Linda, California. And quite honestly, she still is a great producer, right? High production, great number of reviews on her Google business profile. We know it matters. We know it counts. Everybody says it. Probably about over 100 reviews easily when we met. But when we met about a year and a half ago, one of her biggest things was that she felt like what was missing of her marketing plan was actually being seen online. She knew deep down that there were leads out there that should have been hers. And quite frankly, she was not wrong. If you've never seen a heat map before, that's actually what I'm showing right now. So that one to the left where it shows a lot of red dots, that's where Edie and I first started. And the keyword in this particular instance was best luxury realtor. And in this case, it was a lot of those red dots meant that she wasn't even showing up. She could have been page 2, page 20, for page 200 for all we know. We all know that nobody really goes down that far to search. We also know that nobody ever questions Google or AI as well, right? If you think about it, anytime you search something in Google or even AI and they spit out an answer, you don't reply back and say, try again, give me something else, right? There's a level of this verification that has happened, this confirmation to proceed and move forward. And so Edie wasn't wrong because what is happening is what is showing on those map of all those dots are all the areas she covers. That's a lot of missed business opportunities simply because she wasn't ranking. And so we put our strategies to the test, and we'll talk about that a little bit in a moment. But we put our strategies to the test to then see over a few months, look at how much green. That green means she's actually ranking 1, 2, 3, even the yellow ranking 9, 12, etc. Right? What comes out of that? She started getting messages like this. I want to sell my condo in Yorba Linda and buy a place in or near San Bernardino or desert areas. Guess what? If that map didn't expand the way it did, she more than likely probably would have gotten one side of the deal, which was her specific area, Yorba Linda, not San Bernardino, right? So oftentimes you're in a town or a neighborhood and you cover multiple, unless you're in a big city area like New York City, you're probably covering like a fraction of, of Manhattan. But in most of the times, most cases, we're covering, some people even cover counties. We've even worked with agents that cover multiple states, right? And if you're not being seen in all those places, people are only going to think you cover this one section only. She got another message about visiting Southern California this weekend, hoping to see what Laguna Woods Village has to offer. You familiar with that place and able to set something else for her to see. What we're saying is that leads online are intentional. They've made, for the most part, they've made their decision. Even when you're going to a listing appointment, they might be interviewing the first top 2 or 3, but there's a good chance you're going to be that one they pick because you're the one that's coming up on top. And as we know, Google and AI, for the most part, has yet to steer us wrong in those kind of things. Right? Or my husband and I are divorcing and selling the house is a strong possible option. Look, you all know every transaction is not the same and every transaction doesn't have a storybook ending, right? And so the fact that this lead reached out was pretty much a cold lead in its way, but already opened up and said, hey, here's our scenario, here's our situation, here's what's happening. There's this level of trust because, again, she's consistently coming up. Weekly listing calls started rolling in where we kept hearing from everybody on the market of like, it's really slow out there. It's our down market right now. She's in a luxury high-end market where it should have been slow and it has yet to be slow because, again, understanding consumer behavior online, what they're searching, when they're searching, and how they're searching it. It's not always about best realtor in. In fact, best realtor in for her area doesn't even work, but best luxury realtor does. Listing agent does. Some other markets might be seller's agent. People use different terms and words. And that's the most important thing to know is that you're positioning, you're strategizing to be in the place where they're looking for and how they're looking for you. So this is really fun and I really geek out at this, okay? Because this is kind of like consumer behavior in the background. So when I talked about postcards earlier, it was about, yes, like I said, they work. But here's what happens often at times with postcard mailers. You just sold a property, 123 Main Street, and you're so excited because your days on the market was quick. You got over asking, you're building out this whole story of this could be you too, right? I'm sure that happens to a lot of us. Hey, this could be you too. I'm ready to help sell your home. But oftentimes when we're sending that postcard to the radius, we made an assumption that other people want to move because their neighbor did. They might not be ready. And so sometimes those postcards or those emails or even your cold calling is hitting them in a time where they're at stage 1, where they're unaware they even have a problem. They're not even thinking about moving. It's not even at top of mind. I'll tell you personally, I get postcards all the time. Well, I look at them because being in this industry, but for the most part, I've got no interest or desire because I'm not in that place to move. I'm in a place where I'm I'm happy to stay in my home till my children at least graduate high school or college. Right. And then you go into stage two, problem aware. And there's somewhat like these are people that are starting to have the conversations or starting the thoughts of maybe in a few years I'll downsize, or, maybe in a few years we'll upsize. And then you have those that are solution where you're getting a little bit closer. We're getting there, right? Where, we're in October, right? Where some people might be having that conversation of, okay, come May or June, let's put the house on the market. The kids are graduating. Again, time to downsize, right? There's something happening in their life that they're now planning it. But you've got product aware. And product aware is where the action is happening on Google because they are now looking for a solution to their problem. You're not asking them, hey, do you have a problem? I can help you with it. I can sell your home. I can help you buy your home. It's the opposite here. They are saying, hey, my problem is I got to move. I've got to relocate. My job is making me transfer. We're getting a divorce. There's something along those lines. They've come intentionally. That's why we see them so hot, so heavy, ready to go. That's where we hear so many time and time again of agents answering the phone and someone says, hey, can you come by this weekend? Give me a home valuation. What do I got to do to list it? Okay, that's where they are at. Again, I'm not saying the postcards go away. I don't say the emails go away. I'm a big believer in 360 marketing degree plan. All right, 360 marketing plan is so important, so key. You have all the pieces to the puzzle, but you want to make sure that Google and AI marketing is most certainly a priority in your marketing plan. Okay. Why do we struggle with Google and AI? It's not because you're not good. Yeah, I know you're probably all fantastic agents. Yeah, probably have years and years of experience. All right, you've had some great closings. Maybe you're even top producer. But they often struggle because the algorithm constantly changes. And here's the downside. Google, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, they don't come out with a press release of what's the updated things that they're looking for in your profiles. They're not providing you with a checklist of here how to succeed. My favorite is when people say, "Oh, but I chat GPT'd how I can rank better." You can't possibly think they're really going to give you the solid, good secrets. They got to keep you on your toes, right? That's often a big challenge. The algorithm is changing. What do they want next? Right? Going into Q4, they want data. That's what they want. They want data. How many reviews do you have? How many transactions have you closed? How many transactions have you closed in your lifetime? And how many transactions have you closed in the last year? How many have you closed in the last quarter? Why are you the best? Are you showing up on Zillow? Are you showing up on Fast Expert? Are you showing up on Realtor.com? It's more than just your Google business profile now. We've got all these checkpoints to make sure we're hitting so that way we feed the algorithm best so that way you appear up on top. You don't know which tactics actually matter. I hear all the time, oh, I just need to get reviews. Yes, reviews is a piece of the scorecard. But if you get reviews, y'all, can you do me a favor? Make sure you reply to them, right? Not only is it just like respectful and nice and kind for you to take out a minute of your time like your client just did, but in that space, think of it like social media. When you post on Facebook or Instagram and somebody comments on it, you comment back, right? It's the same thing. They kind of look at that, what that organic contribution and interaction happens. But I also hear at times, and this is false, I'm going to cut the myth for y'all right now. What you post on social media is what you should post on Google. Not true. Not true. Google likes its own entities. They like their own content. They like to be different. It's why recently, I believe it was a testimonial tray where you were able to get reviews and it was just simultaneously posted everywhere to Facebook, to Zillow, to Google. And now it can't get posted on Google, right? I like to say handle Google and AI with care. It's a sensitive package, but yet so powerful for you. DIYing, honestly, it's time consuming. It can be inconsistent. Most importantly, it can be frustrating because here's the thing. Comes down to what's called your SEO, right? Your search engine optimization, and your GEO, generative engine optimization. It's a long game. This is not turn on the switch and poof, you're on top. This is also not like meta ads or pay-per-click ads where you just put money, money, money into it to push you to the top and fingers crossed you get that quality, nice, good lead. This is a long game, but it pays off. But you're also constantly playing the game because, and here's the thing, I loved it personally 3, 4 years ago when you got to the top on the maps and you got to the top on local service ads and you got to the top for your website. It was almost like you claimed your spot, you stood there and you were good and you were solid and you could breathe and life went on. And now it is a battlefield. Just because you're on the top today doesn't mean you're on the top tomorrow. Every single day, there's something to be tweaked, to be adjusted, content to be fed, reviews to respond to, properties to expose and market. There's always constantly things. I like to compare it to like New York City, the city that never sleeps. Online never sleeps. They're constantly looking for the things that you're doing to be able to boost you and reward you. And I'm going to hit it a little bit where it hurts. And I'm just going to be a very honest and upfront person, y'all. But that $5 virtual assistant solution works in theory. It does not work in execution because more often than not, they're your admins and that's okay. And their jobs is to, help you with your paperwork for your transactions and maybe make that social media post. But when it comes to Google, one wrong change, a change as simple of you're going to change your name from, let's say, Kiera Flynn hyphen Keller Williams Realty. And now I'm going to be with Real Brokerage and I changed it to Real Brokerage. And now I'm in re-verification because I pissed Google off over a change. What do? You can't give up. You can't walk away, but you got to know how to talk to Google. All right. So again, handle with care. It is your reputation at the end of the day that's on the line, literally and figuratively. Okay. Sorry, Bailey, I don't see Q&A, so I'm just rocking and rolling unless I'm missing it. So you could just stop me along.
I'll let you know if anybody drops anything in there for you.
I'm just going. So
yep, you're good. You're good.
Perfect. Okay. So why does this matter? Okay. Again, I know, guys, past clients, referrals, SOI, but they're not calling you every day. Right? Your past client could have been from, 2, 3 years ago. They're not ready to move just yet. They're not moving every day. They're not moving every month, right? It matters because when you struggle with visibility, you then struggle with momentum. When you lose the momentum, you start to doubt yourself and you're like, okay, what's the next thing? Maybe I become a Zillow Premier agent. Maybe I check out, another postcard company. Maybe I need to switch my websites. We start questioning and doubting all the things that we're putting into that marketing system. But we got to keep that Google and AI a part of the marketing activity. Okay. Visibility fuels results and results drive retention. And what do I mean? When you're up there on the top, we see it where it goes consistently day in and day out that the calls start coming in, message inquiries start coming in. Okay, that's what I mean by retention, retaining your business, retaining that lead flow, retaining the fact that when you walk down the block, it's not just, oh yeah, I saw your social media post, it looked really good, right? It's like, oh my gosh, every time I search online, it's you. I see you. Or even better, if you use like a Waze or an Apple Maps or even like your any kind of car map that you have, your branding should be on that. So if I'm driving to Dunkin' Donuts and I'm just going to pick a name here and I'm driving to Dunkin' Donuts and, I'm passing Marge's office, Marge's name should be popping up on my way to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or the gas station. Even if I'm not ready to buy a home, I'm just seeing Marge's name over and over and over again. And now when I'm ready and I go online and I look for that best realtor near me, man, she's coming up there. She's coming up there. I'm going to go and ask ChatGPT. She's coming up there. I give up. I'm just going to call her. Right? That's what I mean by retention, retaining the lead flow, the pipeline. Here's the thing. Google and AI, they want to get the absolute best results for the end user. So think about that for a second. The absolute best results for the end user in the fastest amount of time for their search criteria. No matter how fast, you just simply type something in Google and ping, it pops up. ChatGPT gives you 3 little bubbles and they're pulling their sources, comes right up. They're all competing against each other. And I know it probably feels overwhelming because earlier this year, AI was kind of like this whisper talk. And now it's like in everybody's faces. It's here, right? And we're like, is this a trend? TikTok came, it went, came back again. We don't know where it's going yet, right? And we kind of feel that way with AI. Like, where do I even start? ChatGPT? What the heck is Grok? Perplexity? Gemini? Wait, what? We just need to understand their main objective and know that there's a way, one way, almost think of it like a funnel to feed all of this. Because like I said, they're all competing against each other, right? ChatGPT is probably, I'll say, most common when we talk about AI, but Gemini, which is owned by Google. So when you do a Google search, you see AI mode, and that AI paragraph is now coming in. And guess what? 40% of the users, when AI mode is coming up, is what they're clicking on before they go down to see a map, before they go down to see a website. Because to them, they felt like they got their direct, exact answer that they need. But behind the scenes, Gemini AI is like, hey, I got to stay ahead of ChatGPT because I want the most users. And ChatGPT is like, hey, I'm going to evolve because I want to demo Gemini. What I like to say, let them battle it out. And as agents, let's take advantage of the opportunity. Don't feel overwhelmed of like, oh my God, how am I going to get found on one more platform? Look at it as, yes, I can get found on yet another platform. And there's more opportunity for me to take advantage of. And don't ditch one over the other. I hear that often, right? Oh, Google's going away. You know how many calls last month I got on with clients who are like, so what's going to happen to the business? I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, Google's going to go away. Said who? Google's not going away. Yahoo hasn't gone away. AOL hasn't gone away. In fact, one of our clients actually shared with us one of their listings, and she laughed because she couldn't believe how she was on every platform. It was an 80-year-old woman looking to downsize and go into active living. She used AOL.com because that's her comfort level. She doesn't trust artificial intelligence yet. And then she reached out to her daughter in the late 40s, and the daughter went on to Google because that was her comfort zone. And grandson decided he's going to participate in helping grandma, and he went into ChatGPT. Well, she came up on all of those searches and platforms. And despite not living in the same exact state, let alone the same exact town, it was a family discussion that was a consensus of, this is the only name I'm saying. Opportunity for you to be there, to be everywhere. Google still has the hottest leads with the shortest sales cycle. Because like I showed you beforehand, where they're at. Okay. So again, let's not ditch Google, but let's take advantage of ChatGPT. Let's take advantage of Perplexity. I had a client recently called and was like, what the heck is Grok? Somebody said they found me on Grok. I said, don't you worry, it's another AI. We're just got to leverage it. Okay. Again, they've made their decision. Be there for that decision that they're making. But most importantly, you can be there. You can be at the top of the searches. And this sounds all great and amazing. It's like, okay, if I get to the top, then more people are going to call me. Yes, they are. But if you can't convert them, we've got a bigger problem on our hands, right? So make sure your conversion is on point because you want to be at the top. You want to keep getting those calls. And just know there's certain platforms on Google, like local service ads, where they do hear the calls because it's on a recorded line. They do hear the conversion, and that gives you bonus points in ranking on local service ads. Okay, I want to talk about filling in the online lead gap. Like I said, if you look at your transaction sheet overall across the board this year, where have most of your leads come from? How consistently does it look? All right, I know I got a lot of crazy charts here, but I'm going to share a story with you guys. A year ago, about a year ago, Templeton Real Estate Group out in Dallas, Texas, we were at an event. He came up to us, started asking us a lot of questions about Google and online and SEO searches, and very analytical, very deep down into like the numbers. And then he said, you know what? I tried something like this before. It didn't really work. I respect it. I get it. There's many companies out there online that promise the world, right? And so I explained to him, I said, look, we could sit down and go through your strategy because I don't believe that this online strategy should be the same for every single agent. First off, you're different people. You have a different brand, you have a different market, and you have a different demographic. Just because you're a real estate agent doesn't mean you're just a real estate agent to the masses. Maybe your specialty area is downsizing. Maybe your specialty area is military. Maybe your specialty is upsizing or downsizing or probate or short sale. Whatever that is should be leveraged. And so we ended up sitting down, powwowing through, and said, I'm going to give this a try. You only have this amount of time. Give me a window. And he said, okay, I'll take that window and we'll put the work to the test here. And we did. Fast forward a year later, you can see in that first chart up on the upper right hand side, that number of 86,000 plus, that's search views. That is the number of times in 12 months he came up for searches in his area, 86,000 times. And in maps, came up over 4,000 times in maps. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, this is the perfect solution all day, every day. No way. There are hills and there are valleys. We're going to go like this. It's a journey, right? And you can see where things even dropped off a little bit. Google does their algorithm, or we got to go through re-verification and then we got to bounce it back up. But we're staying consistent with the strategy of the content we're feeding in, with our data, with our analytics. What did that convert to? Over 283 calls in the last 12 months organically on Google. We toyed around with some ads as well, 320 leads. Again, Dallas, so take it into consideration, heavy market, okay? Also take into consideration, this is an agent that has someone who speaks Spanish on his team, so we were able to tap into bilingual, all right? So his numbers are a little bit different than, I'll say, sometimes even the norm for big city areas, but when you have that option of somebody speaking a second language, can be really beneficial. And he's constantly coming up. Dallas, Texas realtor, Dallas, Texas real estate agent. He's constantly coming up. What did that turn into, right? Because I talked about conversion, right? We got him to the top. The calls are coming in. Well, year to date, we're just over 31 closed transactions, not including what's pending, not including what's in the pipeline, and continuously going. So it works as long as the strategies, like I said, are implemented and staying consistent as well. Okay, sorry. I see a question. Yes, I'll have time to answer it in the end for sure. Oops, there we go. Okay. So I often get asked as well, like, what do we focus on? What do we actually do? So we help you get found on top of Google Maps, local service ads, and Google searches as well. So if y'all are familiar with local services, just put that in the chat. And in fact, since we still have time as well, if anybody wants like a live hot seat audit of their online search, drop your name in the chat. Okay, because we definitely have time for that and I'd love to do it. Perfect. And actually, you know what? I'm just going to take that question first. Oops, hang tight. There we go. Okay, in the chat. What is your advice for a new agent for online visibility? Is organic listing, social media, and website presence enough, or should we use SEM or another marketing strategy? Okay, so you're a new agent. Are you like 1 year, 2 years in? How new are we talking? Did we just get our real estate license last week? That's first and foremost. I'll wait for your reply on that. But I would say if you're a new agent, the first step would definitely be to set up your Google business profile. Okay, that's going to be really important. Set up your Google business profile. If you're a new agent and you don't have too many transactions under your belt just yet, your first step would be, if you have any transactions under your belt, definitely ask them for a review on your Google business profile page. Otherwise, simply ask friends or family to, write a review as to why you're a great realtor in the area, why you should trust you, love you, and all the things. As far as like listings go, to be able to showcase, again, if you don't have any under you just yet, I would lean in on your brokerage and ask if they or if they're okay with you marketing their listing, and then just make note of it on the Google business profile specifically, like, hey, 123 Main Street, beautiful home for sale, blah, 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 listed by, right? And then this way you're giving credit where it's due. Realtor for a few months, so no transactions yet. So yeah, I would definitely ask other agents if it's okay that you market their listings. Obviously give credit of like listing agent, or if you're doing open houses, there's a section that you can write a post and showcase that open house for sure. social media and website presence enough. So here's the challenge with social media. I say social media is your lead nurturer. And when I say social, I'm talking like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, right? Your lead generators is Google and YouTube. Those are your top two lead generators. Okay. Um, so I think it's okay to still definitely do social media. I'm not saying ditch it. I'm saying that I would go, if I were to prioritize, if I were you, my priority would be a website presence, Google business profile, and then social media, and then hitting the phones hard. Right? If you're on a team, you could obviously, use their list, etc. But that would be my recommendation. That's kind of how I started when I was once upon a time a real estate agent. Perfect. All right. Who wants to go in the hot seat? And if nobody drops their name in, I'm going to pick somebody because this is where you guys actually take away stuff, right? You heard me chat it up and why it's so important for you, but who is not getting leads online yet and wants to turn it around Q4 and set up 2026 for success? I'm gonna give y'all like 30 seconds and then I'm gonna pick somebody. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, I'm picking. All right, Christine Campbell. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Christine.
Hi.
Hi. Don't worry, I don't bite. I'm here to help. So it's all all right. I'm gonna go back to share screen. Christine, what market are you in?
We're in Denver.
Denver. Awesome. Okay, so go with just Denver, Colorado realtor. I'm just going to go overall. Okay. So I'm here, Denver, Colorado realtor. And are you on a team or you just go based off your name?
My name with Remax Emotion.
Okay. All right. Do you have a profile set up yet?
Not on Google Business. No.
Not in Google Business. Okay. And what's your website through?
Remax.
Through Remax. Okay. Perfect. So let's actually go with, oh, I saw Remax down here, didn't I? Yes, but it's all real estate agents and not you. Okay. Okay, so one thing for somebody to write your name, that means they already somewhat know of you, whether they saw your sign outside or maybe again, they got a postcard mailer or somebody referred, right? So they kind of get an idea of who you are. But you really want to make sure that obviously, like I said, you have that Google business profile page set up. What is the In Motion group? Is that you as well?
Yes, that was our company before we got with Remax. Mhm.
Before with Remax. Okay.
Mhm.
Do you have access to this site at all?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, cool. So you want to just make sure that like any contact information and all your links are still working to directly contact you. Okay. Sometimes I know when
Okay.
people are going to merge or switch or there's an update, they don't realize all those little places that the contact information should be because somebody could click on that second one instead of the first one for whatever reason.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And do you have like, because I don't see it popping up right away, Zillow, Realtor.com, any of that set up?
I don't know how to do that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. So here's what I know I could tell you because I actually just spoke to somebody in Denver a few days ago. Um, the search term realtor near me had over 2,200 searches in the last 30 days. 2,200
Wow.
searches is a lot of people searching for realtor near me. Now,
Okay.
I'm not saying just because you rank up on top, you're getting all 2,200 calls, excuse me. Right. What I am saying though is that you have a better shot, you have a better chance. But what's happening right now is Ed Prather and Thrive Real Estate Group are getting the calls. Put aside 800 plus reviews. I know that looks super intimidating. It feels like you can't even compete. Put that aside. I have a client that has just under 40 reviews in the middle of nowhere, Indiana, who swears to me that there's more fields than houses out there. And we're outranking somebody with 969 reviews. Okay, so put the reviews to the side. I want you just to look at up here, we're having a missed opportunity, right? Or let's say the local service part, the above did not appear. And this is what did. I've got Wisdom Real Estate, Lux, and Thrive. More than likely, Thrive is getting more of the calls because they're in both places. right?
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't like to touch up here because they see sponsored and they think, oh, like if I go onto Facebook or somewhere else, I'm going to be, stalked with an ad, right? And that's not the case in this, but a lot of people think of it that way. So then they scroll down, they're like, oh, I just saw that name on top. I'm going to call it through here, right? So definitely want to
Mhm.
get Google Business Profile set up. It's really simple. You simply just type in Google Business Profile and it walks you through the steps. You're going to put your photo up there. I recommend you do not put it with your brokerage. Okay. And my reason, right, rationale behind that, guys, is you can love where you're at till you turn blue in the face and swear up and down you're never leaving that brokerage. And then something happens for whatever reason and you do, and you have to make that name switch. It is like a can of worms when you make that name switch on Google. They make you go through this crazy verification process and then submit a DBA, a doing business as certificate. And it just gets wild and crazy. So at the end of the day, people aren't going to buy into you because you're with Keller Williams. They're not buying into you because you're with Coldwell Banker. They're not buying into you because you're Remax. They're buying into you because you have a specialty area, you're an expert in the field. That's what they're going with. So when you're setting up your Google business profile, keep it with your name. Okay. You're going to put your photo up there, not your logo. People want to do business with you, not the logo, right? You're going to put your photo up there. You're going to put your phone number. You're going to write a little synopsis about who you are, how long you've been in the business, who you actually help, why you love it, and start asking people to write reviews there. Sound good? Awesome. Anybody else want to go for it? See, I said it wasn't that scary, but I want to help you guys, and I'm here. We have time for one more. One more. Anybody? I know there's some like that have their faces turned off, so I don't know if they're like actually there or not. Okay, Shar, Abilene, Texas. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Hang tight. I'm gonna share screen again. Oop. Sorry, did a typo. Okay, cool. I think you guys should be able to see my screen okay. So Shar, same thing here, right? So if I'm coming here, Abilene, Texas Realtor, these right here are the top two. Now, some people, honestly, some people will hit show more. I always like to say this, and some people get offended by this. Please don't get offended. Some people are going to choose their agents based on how you look, just like they choose their house, right? Like we look at the exterior of the house and you're like, I have zero interest or desire to walk into the house. I'm good. It's unfortunately the same way, right? Some people prefer female, some people prefer male, some people might not like your name. But the most important part is that you're up there, all right? So Tanya and Joseph, they might not be getting all of them. Some people hit more and they'll scroll through. Or sometimes these two didn't answer, they're going to the next. I've heard that before, where people have left messages like first agent calls me back is the one that wins. It's like, y'all are real estate agents. Make sure someone's answering your calls, right? Again, sometimes you're in a listing appointment. Sometimes you're on a call. Make sure you've got that backup plan in place. Okay. Shar, are you with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Stovall? I'm going to assume that's their office name, or Glidden Real Estate Group, or are you on your own all by yourself? Okay, EXP. Okay, perfect. All right, right here. Excellent. Okay, so you're ranking there number 3. Shar, how's your lead flow going?
Um, I had a thing with Google where I was at one point verified, but then kind of what you said about, I think there was an address change or something, and it just threw it way off. And I'm trying to get back in Google's good graces, and yeah, it's been some work.
Okay, so good news is you got 84 reviews. I always like to say 31 plus is the hump. Okay, 31 plus is the hump, right? If you're under 31, it's a little bit of a struggle, a little bit of a challenge. You're over 31, fair game. Okay, so 84, we're good. Is this your current address? This is 162?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And address changes are rough. I know it. I've been there. I've done that before, and all the verifications, etc. The good news is that you're back into number 3. But again, that's why I was trying to ask where that lead flow is coming from, because I don't see you guys at the top here on local services unless you don't have that part set up.
I paused advertising because I was in, like I said, not only was the ranking affected, but I was like completely gone off of Google. I was in Google jail.
Google Jail's
'Cause
not a
I don't
place
know,
to be.
like it was, oh my gosh, it took months just to even get my account back. So yeah, it was rough.
Okay. So we want to get the local service ads reactivated, and here's why. Unfortunately, Google Business doesn't stand alone the way it used to anymore. And this was a change that they made about a year ago. So when people had Google Business profile pages and they're like, I'm jamming and I'm not doing LSA, they saw a tank. They saw a huge, huge tank. So the fact that you're still ranked number 3 on maps, that's a really good sign, at least for this keyword. And we can dive deeper offline of like all the other keywords that are populating in your area. But you really want to make sure that you have local service ads, because again, that's really important. And we also want to realize that there are various ways for search outputs to come up. One can be just like you're seeing, local services, maps, then websites. 2, sometimes local services just pop up and then websites. And local services will pop up throughout the search, so it looks like that paid ad feature. Or 3, none of them populate at all and your website does. Right? Or 4, you'll have, and it's not up here, but you'll see here AI mode. Sometimes just the AI mode will be the one that appears as well. Okay. And right now in Gemini, we've got Tanya Harbin and the Berkshire Hathaway that's populating. And see there, see this white space right here where my cursor is? There's 2 more spots for that. That's what that's saying to you. They normally have this filled up with 4. That means anybody else in your market has not figured out how to crack that code to fill out those 2 other spots there. Okay, so that's really important to make sure that you're checking out. And then I just want to see who you're using website wise. What do we got here? We got your IDX. Who's your web provider?
It's Ylopo.
Ylopo. Okay, that's what I was gonna say. It looks like either Ylopo or an agent image site. There we go. Oh yeah, there we go. I passed the footer. Okay, so Ylopo. Excellent. Let's go back up. Whoops, go back up to the top here. All right, major thing, y'all, on your websites. So important. The reason why organically you're not even popping up, and this is without me going behind the scenes because I can go like really down a deep hole here, but we've got your search, but I got no direction. Like, yes, I get what it's supposed to be. We need to understand when people coming to the website, we have to hold their hand. What should it be? So if I were you, my recommendation was to be move that search bar down to right here above market trends in Abilene. And here should be what's called like your H1, your header 1 and your header 2. Those are super powerful for Google crawl searches and should basically be, think of it as the answer to people's problems, right? Let's go with Matt, Templeton Real Estate Group. There we go. Expert real estate services in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Templeton Real Estate Group. So your name being in that H2, the second header right below there, but that first one is so powerful for him in his market. People are looking for real estate services, real estate expert. So we meshed and merged those, made it into one solid headline of expert real estate services in Dallas-Fort Worth area. You're missing that H1, which is impacting organic visibility. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So I would definitely make that change. Stat, get your local services live stat, and hopefully you should start seeing a nice uptick as well.
I had a quick question. So if you
Yeah.
do revamp your website or get a brand new one, does that affect Google in a big way in the rankings?
Well, I will say if you redo it and make sure that it's launching with a stronger strategy than you currently have in place, the only impact it's going to have is positive. And I'll give you an example. I'm not going to name company names. I stay out of that part. But I had a client or have a client in Washington area outside of Seattle, and he switched from company A to company B. And we put together what that H1 looks like. What's that H2 look like? What do the meta tags look like? What are the descriptions look like? What, again, every piece of content on everything you do online needs to answer the questions people are having. When you have that in place, no matter if it's a YLopo site, an Agent Fire site, an Agent Image site, a Sierra Interactive site, when you have that in place, you're going to increase your exposure and your visibility. Okay, so it's not about a this or that on as far as like website companies, but it is a this or that as far as website strategy. Okay, I think every website company out there is fantastic and amazing, and they're great at what they do in their lanes of those things. But as agents, you do want to hone in when you're interviewing web companies, like what exactly you're going to do for me on a search engine standpoint. Like, what is the SEO plan to date? Right. And people are going to say, like, oh, we're going to do like, we're going to put an SEO plan, we're going to put an AI plan. What exactly is that? And make sure that it feeds into your bottom line. Right. So I'll give you an example for us. What we personally did is we saw a lot of website companies out there had this same exact blog post for all the agents. So if you're an agent in California, you have the same blog content as somebody in Florida, as somebody in New York, as somebody in Indiana, right? Like, talk about massive confusion to Google, massive confusion to AI platforms. Or even best, like I'm looking at some of this content, I'm like, our clients don't even talk that way. Like, do y'all really tell people like, here's the best smart devices to have in your home to make it sell better? No, right? You're like, what upgrades did you make? But nobody's buying a home over having like a Ring camera or not, right? So for us, we found that to be a roadblock when we were making progress for some of our clients with their heat maps, et cetera. And so we're very much a team of let's just take matters into our own hands. And over the summer, we actually took over blog posting. And so if the website company wanted to still do it, they did their thing. They actually feel relieved. They have less work to do. We took on the work. And it's very, again, based off of your market and what people are asking for and looking for. But if you're interviewing other companies like that, you want to know exactly what they're going to do and how they're going to do it and how it's going to feed into your bottom line. All right, yeah. Anybody else have any other questions? No, going once, going twice. Awesome. What I'll do is I'll drop in the feed for anybody who wants to, if you absorb and then you're like, oh, wait, I have questions now. Because that happens, because I just gave you guys a lot of info and details to think about. I'm going to drop in the feed here my email, and feel free to reach out, or the website, and you can check out things there too. I post videos a lot on Instagram, so we try to give as much value as possible. So like I said, it's Q4, guys. I hope you all really put Google and AI into play. It really can make a significant difference. And this way you can end the year strong and even better, get 2026 set up for success for y'all.
Awesome. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
I really appreciate having us. Recording will be sent out per usual. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Thanks,
Awesome.
everybody. See you next
Thank
week.
Have a great
you.
day.